De Romanis, Book 3. What's left? What does it need to accomplish? Well, here's the thing. There's learning Latin language and there's reading Latin literature. And everybody knows that really the point of learning Latin language is to read Latin literature. But at some point, the process of learning Latin language has got to actually reach the process of reading Latin literature. And that moment of join up is difficult because as you learn Latin, you tend to read Latin that's easy. But reading Latin literature, you're jumping into some of the most sophisticated, stylized, compressed modes of writing in the known European literary world. So, De Romanis 3 aims to close that gap. It finishes intermediate Latin language work, taking someone to the level of GCSE or ready to move into an advanced course book, like the A-level course books. But at the same time as completing that language work, it introduces people to the process of reading original texts through material in each of the chapters that's been purposely chosen, lightly edited and adapted to make it possible for kids to engage with that material even though their language work is where it is. How do we do it? Well, we do it by using the principle of flexibility, which is the lifeblood of De Romanis pedagogy. And the flexibility for the Latin texts is that in De Romanis Book 3, every text is printed with a facing idiomatic translation. And what that means is that teachers and students can choose how they're going to interact with that original Latin literature. It creates methods of interaction which are several stages leading up to the full-blown glory moment where people are reading and translating authentically for themselves. At the easiest level, students can read the idiomatic translations, get a flavour for the content, and start to cherry-pick or care about individual details in the text. Next stage up, the teacher can direct them to whole chunks of the text that they think they're going to be able to manage. But because the students can read the idiomatic translation, they've already got up to pace with the meaning of it and therefore have the headspace free to navigate the actual Latin. At the topmost level, the idiomatic translation and the facing Latin allows people to start to think about the differences between those two languages. Why does idiomatic English render something one way, but Latin renders it another way? Now, to support with that process, De Romanis 3 also has notes and activities and guidance to help students develop the sorts of skills which they need to read original Latin. It has guidance on context and genre. The authors we use are introduced in their cultural and historical context. It has tasks to help build linguistic dexterity. Deducing the meaning of one word from other known words is a core activity in our language materials now. It has notes on reading original Latin that flag the key principles like navigating word order, dealing with adjectives, handling omissions, being ready for the sorts of literary techniques that Latin literature uses. And so we're confident that this book is something which will do what no other course book on the market currently does do, i.e. allow a smooth and stepped transition to the ultimate goal. And we hope that when students reach that goal of realising they can read real Latin themselves, they'll come to it with an excitement for the process and awareness of cultural context and genre that allows those texts to live, and feeling like it was a natural, steady progression from their language work, as opposed to something totally different and big that was just shoved in at the end. So that's it, De Romanis 3.